What's up, guys? So I kind of decided to get a few indie games, and I will try to analyze them and see what can be improved, what the person did wrong, or maybe a few suggestions on how to improve the games. So, first one that I'm going to see uh, is a guy that calls himself Fire Totem Games. So, full disclosure, he's actually a friend of mine. We've made 2 or 3 games together on game jams, and most of his work is of game jam games. So, a few of these games will lack some basic things that we expect in games, but that's because of the nature of a game jam. On the game jam, you don't really have a lot of time to develop things, so I will take that into account as well. So yeah, let's get into the game and you see what I mean. So the first game that we will check is called Village of Sacrifice, and it's made by Fire Totem Games. And I think it was the first game that he made for a game jam. So here at the menu screen we see some movement, a lot of movement, especially on this title. But there's a reason behind it, because you see with the axe you chop wood, with the pickaxe you mine, with the scythe you collect hay, so it's a sort of mini tutorial on the menu screen. Again, because it's a game jam, that's pretty neat because it's some sort of tutorial without really being a tutorial. Let's dive into the game. You are the leader of a small village. So he gives us a little bit of introduction, telling some sort of backstory. But the important thing is that we need 5 haste to get a new villager. It needs a bed to live, and a house equals 5 beds. That means that a new house will give us the ability to make 5 new villagers, and we need 25, 25, and 50 of these to build a new house. Okay, I've played this game before, and it's quite confusing. That's something that But first, let's see. Let's jump into the game, and you will see what I mean. Here is God happiness wants X. Let's give him an X, but we need to click on minus. I didn't know that at first, but now I know. And knowing it's half the battle. So I know this because I tried this game before. You kinda have to keep collecting hay and wood because the villagers, they use up those things. They keep using. And if they don't have wood or hay, they die. Just like that. And that makes the game pretty hard. That's kind of frustrating as well, because you see, what you see here is my 3rd or 4th playthrough. So before this, I suffered a lot. It was really hard to find out what is it that he wanted me to do with this game. So for a game jam, it's an interesting concept, but you see, if we are to fully develop this game, there's a lot of things that we have to change. There's like so many things that you have to change before doing something like releasing a full game out of this. But that's not the point. You what you're seeing here is here, God's not happy. So let's sacrifice so God will have his human sacrifice and be happy, basically. So he wants 4 of these guys. Let's make this. So here's the thing, they're going to die. They are going to starve out and die because I don't have enough. Or God will kill them. God kills them. And I can't really, you see, I will show some of the other footage that I've recorded. I was still making another setup, but you will be able to see that I couldn't really make it up for this. As soon as God is not happy, he starts to kill everybody, and you don't have a chance to recover after that. I remember when the developer was explaining to me his concept, but it's not something that you will see you should see on a full game. You need to give a chance for the player to recover. Okay, so if you want to really develop a game, you need to take into account 3 basic principles. There are a lot of principles that we should take into account, but there are 3 principles that we should always follow. If you are making a game, you should make sure that the game has more rewards than punishment. What do I mean by more rewards than punishment? Imagine, for instance, Dark Souls. Dark Souls sounds like a game that has more punishment than rewards, but that's not the case. When you play Dark Souls, the game is pretty hard, but there are a lot of rewards. For instance, the player will feel that he's improving when he defeats a boss. There are many hidden secrets as well. There are hidden items, there are story elements, there are hints of things that you can do. All those things are rewards. So on this game that we just saw, the Village of Sacrifice, it seems like there's more punishment than rewards. I know that Fire Totem will probably come to me with a lot of things to say, but this, but that. But again, this was a game jam game, and there's not a lot of time to develop the game. So he probably made this in 48 hours or something. But what I'm doing here is, what if we want to take this game and make it into a full game? Well, first thing that I would change was that once the God happiness depletes, maybe it fills up again. It kills a guy, or it kills a bunch of guys, and it fills up again. That will give time to the player to recover for that mistake. Maybe if you want to make it harder, you can make that, okay, it depletes, God kills a human, one of the villagers. Now it's going to fill up, but it depletes faster. Or maybe it doesn't deplete faster, it depletes the same amount of time, but it keeps increasing the number of sacrifices that needs. But the second time that it happens, God kills 2 villagers, or maybe it's exponential, and next time it kills 4, and then 8, and so on, and when you don't have any villager that to sacrifice, it's game over. Okay, so I talked about one principle. The other principle that you should always follow is to start with a core mechanic and build from it. So Village of Sacrifice does that in some way. Like, you have a core mechanic that you have to keep collecting. You have to collect materials to please the god. And for a game jam game, that's pretty good. The problem here is how you show that to the player. Again, it's a game jam game, you don't have time to develop that, but if you want to make that game into a full game, you need to find a way to explain the mechanic to the player without really explaining the mechanic. Like that thing that it was done on the main menu with the axe close to the woods, chopping the trees down. That's one way to explain without really explaining. But you kind of need hints, because you see, the stones do not deplete over time, but the wood and the hay depletes. So you kind of need to make the player see that, hey, look at this, it's depleting. They are going to starve out if they don't have these. Somehow you need to make that. That is also part of the third principle, which is easy to learn, hard to master. So, like I said, it was this that you saw before was my 4th attempt on this game. And my first 2 attempts, I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't know that why the villagers were dying until I noticed that the wood and the hay were depleting. Again, game jam, I know, but if you want to make it into a full game, we kind of need to address that. So maybe a few icons, and make sure that the player knows that the villagers need wood and hay to survive, and maybe a few icons as well, something like, on the Sims that they have like balloons above their heads telling how they feel. So something like, oh, I'm hungry, oh, I need wood, or something like that. Well, overall, it's a good game. The link for the game is down there. Next time I'm going to take a look at Lone Survivor, another game of Fire Totem. I will go through all his catalog, and that includes some games that we made it together. Well, until next week then. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all those things, because anyway, this is YouTube. I need to do that, so you can remember to share this video and show other people as well. See you, Jen. You see me next time.